Are we going to leave him?
We could leave him.
Well, just for a couple minutes.
No, it's a couple of minutes. Okay.
Yeah. It's very distracting.
It's very distracting.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to In Your Business. Today I'm hanging out with one of my favorite people, Tony Sheard from Southampton Rotary Club, in this special non-profit edition of In Your Business. How's life?
It's great.
Yeah, good. So what's going on? What's new? What's new with you?
Well, what's new with me is I become the district governor for District 6330 of Rotary International.
Which is a big district.
It is indeed. It extends right through into northeast Michigan, comes along the coast, along Lake Huron, right through to Southampton, right through to Bruce Peninsula, and then through to Thornbury-Clarksburg.
Oh.
Then if you take a diagonal line from Thornbury-Clarksburg south to past London to St. Thomas, it encompasses all that area
My
between
goodness.
there and the lake, and then goes out to Sarnia.
And listen, you're the guy in charge.
I will be from the 1st of July.
Oh, okay. Well, so, before we get too deep into what you guys are doing locally with Rotary, because I know you guys are doing like a ton of amazing stuff, let's just talk about Rotary in general, like Rotary International, because I don't think a lot of people realize the magnitude of what Rotary's all about. I think a lot of people see like good local community people doing their thing with their kind of their small town Rotary group, but like let's talk about like Rotary on the whole. Explain it. Like let's try to talk about like the big picture of Rotary.
Well, Rotary simply is a network of people who are doing good in the world, and they look for projects to do, service projects to do, and they have fun doing it.
Yeah.
So that's the real purpose of the exercise. It was originally started by Paul Harris in Chicago over 100 years ago, and he wanted to meet people and make connections, and that's how it started. And from there, we got to an organisation which has got 1.2 million members in over 200 countries, and we do a lot of good in the world. We also have a great foundation which has made projects to the value of over $4 billion since its inception.
Billion with a B. Let it be known.
Yeah. And US dollars. No
yeah, there you go. Worth a little more than the loonie these days, for
right.
sure. Yeah.
And our biggest, I guess, we're most probably well known for on the international scene for our campaign to eradicate polio, our End Polio Now campaign. And we're now in partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Centre for Disease Control, the World Health Organization, and we are on the verge of eliminating polio from the world.
Jeez, that's a tough act to follow. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal, and we're in it to the end to make sure that there is no more cases of polio in this world.
Very cool. So, you have a surprising amount of connections to, like, obviously your own individual Rotary Club, but Rotary Clubs in general, they interact with each other, right?
Any Rotarian can go visit any Rotary Club anywhere in the world. And
you're just welcomed in, right?
Just welcomed
Which
in.
fascinated me, that you could just find out where they are and just show up at the meeting.
Good, that's right.
That's
and you'll be assured of a warm welcome. And if you got into any difficulties in that country, whatever, they would certainly give you a helping hand.
That's amazing.
So you've got an instant group of friends wherever you might be. But I don't know if you realise, but the theme for Rotary this year is Rotary Connects the World. And so I couldn't give you a better intro, unscripted intro.
That was an unintentional segue on my part.
Right.
Yeah.
And Rotary does connect the world in so many ways, just by our individuals, the number of clubs we have, the projects we do, the service we do in our own communities around the globe, and we are always connecting, whether it's in person at a meeting or it's in social media.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So locally in Southampton, you guys have done a ton. Mm-hmm. You yourselves have been a part of some huge projects and raised a lot of money. Let's pump our own tires a little bit. Like, what have you guys been doing in Southampton?
Well, in recent years, I suppose our biggest project, and that was last year, we opened a splash pad. And
yes.
Originally, we were going to raise the money for it over a 5-year period, and we sought some advice from your good self, if you remember, your company.
Go, yeah.
And we managed to raise the money within 8 months. months.
Big difference.
Big difference.
Yeah, big difference.
Some of those were pledges, so they didn't come in straight away.
Yeah.
And it's been a fantastic success.
And the splash pad itself is extremely impressive.
It is, and it's sited in Southampton next to the fire hall. So we had a debate about what sort of theme we would have for it, but it was no contest.
No,
so we have a firefighting theme.
Yeah.
So it's great for the kids, and we have lots of fun seeing them spraying themselves with imitation fire hoses and buckets and all sorts of different things, which is the thing. So that's a great project. And the thing we did do, and you gave us the idea for that, was to use some engraved pavers as a fundraiser. And they were a bit of a struggle and logistical nightmare when we started. But they've become the gift that keeps on giving, because lots of people actually had a paver put in the name of a grandson or a granddaughter. And when the family has another grandson or granddaughter, bingo, they said, we need another paver.
Well, you can't play favorites when it comes to that kind of stuff. Right. Everybody's got to have a paver,
exactly.
for sure.
So so we're in our second year of adding more pavers to it.
Very cool. And so like from a landscaping point of view, you guys are literally just plucking out the blank ones and putting it.
We take the blank ones out and then get a new one engraved. And
gotta love it.
That's right.
Gotta love it. So what else is going on in Southampton? What do you?
Well, we just had our golf tournament on Friday, and this is not a serious tournament at all. It's a 9-hole tournament. It's a fun day. Yeah. We haven't had good weather recently, but Friday it was perfect. Sunshine and
you
nice
only need
time.
one day.
And we got it. We got it. So that was wonderful. And we haven't got the final numbers in yet, but we believe it was exceeded. It will be the best fundraiser ever in terms of our golf tournaments.
Wow, that's amazing. And what'd you shoot?
What did we shoot? We were, in my team, we were 3 under.
Not bad.
That's right.
3 under.
3 under. But it's a fun tournament, so nobody takes doesn't worry about the score. It's about participating.
And listen, let's be real. Me and you can be honest with each other right now. Everybody who plays in those best ball tournaments where you have to submit your score at the end is a liar. You know it's true. Like, they're liars. Like, we played in a tournament last year, and we probably, I think we ended up finishing like maybe 5 or 6 under on 18 holes. But there were people who legitimately claimed to have birdied every hole, kind of thing. You know, and to that I say, I don't think so. Be honest out there, again.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because on our score sheet we have the equivalent of Rotary's 4-way test, and the first item on the test is it the truth? And the second, is it fair to all concerned? And therefore, will it be beneficial to? So we do have a method of.
Let's talk about that for a sec. So explain the 4-way, because me and you have talked about this before. But explain the 4-way test. How does that work?
It's a test which is brought out by a guy in the 1930s who was a Rotarian, and how did he manage his business and how did he deal with ethics in his business?
Yeah.
So he went through the hoop and he decided, and he sat down one day and wrote down these words to describe the test. And as I said, the first one, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it be, I've got to remember them now. Will it build goodwill and friendship? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And if
words to live by.
Absolutely right. And if you put those 4 tests together, you can use them in your everyday life, in your business life, or as we are Rotarians, we can use it in our decision-making process.
Yeah. Very cool. So is that like when you guys sit down and you say, okay, because I mean, you guys must have quite a few projects kind of come your way.
Yeah.
You know, like, because you guys, one thing that has always impressed me about Rotary, but specifically your Rotary Club, is you guys are. You're getting some stuff done for real. Mm-hmm. You know, like you guys chew through these projects. You guys really rally and get a lot of stuff done. So you must have people who notice that, obviously, and they maybe want you to be a part of what they're doing. So on a really basic level, is that like an exercise you guys go through when you start to look at a project? Do you go through those four things?
Well, they're part of the process. It's really. When we are looking at projects, let's say it's in the local community, you know, what is the community need?
Yeah.
You know, and is it a need or is it a want, or is it, you know, and is it a nice to do?
Yeah.
Or is it essential or is it important? And you have to decide the best way to do that. And, you can argue about splash pad, for example, and I'll give you an illustration of this. That was a nice project to do. All the kids loved it. But we also did, around about the same time, a water project in the Cameroon. And that was around about a $70,000 project in US dollar terms. So call it $100,000 Canadian. The splash pad cost us $250,000 because we were fortunate to raise money, so we made it a bit bigger than we were originally intending. And I had a big ha-ha moment because I had a Rotarian friend of mine from the Cameroon who we'd worked with on the project. And this project brought clean water to 4 villages for 10,000 people, and it cost, as I say, $100,000 Canadian. And we did that, and it was completed last December. Our splash pad cost $250,000, and it provides great fun for the kids and the parents and the grandparents and the families. It's only available for a few months of the year. And when this guy, he's called Ibrahim, was here, I took him to the splash pad, and it was one of these ha-ha moments because we were going to photo op, so take a big picture, and you stand there and you suddenly realise, wow, what have we done here? The splash pad was a nice thing to do, but really bringing clean water to a group of people who don't have it was a wow thing to do and an essential thing to do. And it costs so much less, so it makes you value different things in different ways, but in both projects are important in their own communities, but the impact of one of them was of the water project in Cameroon was so significant for those people, because those children, and it's usually the girls, walk 2 or 3 kilometers every day to collect the water and carry it back on their heads, and they no longer have to do that, and so the women of the village have got more time. So what do? They meet around these little, because it's not piped water to every house. No, this is piped to water stands in the village, each of the villages, and there are wash stands, and then there is also they make concrete troughs so that their cattle can be watered. So they can congregate in these wash stations and do their weekly wash or whatever, and then they talk and exchange ideas. So they have got more time, they've got more interaction, and they get more free time. So they can, when I say free time they can do to other things to make their community better.
What's the easiest way for someone to try to learn more about Rotary? So whatever, regardless of wherever you are in these 34,000 Rotary clubs, what's the easiest way for them to just kind of check out what you guys are doing?
Well, simply it would be to go to our Rotary International website, which is rotary.org, or just look Rotary up in any community you live, and then go to one of the meetings. Just go along, and I can assure you, you'll be given a warm welcome, and they will be love to tell you all about what they do. And if you've got a passion or an interest, even if that club doesn't do it, if you can convince them that's a great thing to do, they will back you, because the thing I found is, you talk about the power of one, people talk about the power of one, and if you're an individual, you can have lots of bright ideas, but unless you've got people to support you and help you, it quite often doesn't go very far. And I found that because of the reputation that Rotary has over decades, it's easier if I'm going around. If I'm saying I'm doing this on behalf of Rotary, they are far more trusting than if I went, and this is Tony Sheard doing it. So now I'm an integral part of Rotary, and people think, if I'd chop me in half, it would say Rotary all the way through. So I am part of that reputation.
But generally, Rotary.org, people can learn more about it there.
Exactly.
Very cool. So, district governor. So you paid your dues now. Right?
Yes.
Right? You're 10 years into this thing. So how does this come to be? Because obviously, it's a massive area. So I guess two-part question: how do you get to be in the role? And then when you're in the role, what does that mean? How does that change for you?
Well, simply, it's like all process. You apply.
Yeah.
And a number of people encouraged me to apply, and I decided to do that. And I did that it's over 3 years ago now, because us Rotarians are slow learners, so there's like a 3-year training program to become district governor. So that's how I became a district governor. I suppose the real question is, why did I do that?
Yeah, yeah.
And some days I'm thinking, because I'm only how many days away till the 1st of July, so it's a matter of a few days.
Yeah.
So you do wonder why. But the real reason why is Rotary has been good to me and good to Sylvia and I. And it's an opportunity to give back to Rotary and to help other Rotarians and other Rotary clubs to aspire to go to the next level, if you like. And so that's really how I guess I got involved. So I think the second question is what is the job?
Yeah, yeah.
And I suppose it's a number of parts, and there's one part which is administrative. So you have to manage the business of the district, and the primary purpose of the district is to support Rotary clubs and their members within their purview, if you like. And the primary things that we do, we run training courses for them to in a number of ways. One for technical aspects of Rotary, but also to motivate them and inspire them to go to the next level. So that's the training side. And then the other part of my role is to visit the clubs and see as many of the members as I can, and it's to help motivate them and inspire them so that we take Rotary to the next level, and if they've got some difficulties, help them with those issues. So that's roughly the sort of 3 parts of the role.
Would it be naive to think that all Rotary clubs are equal levels of productive? Right? Mm-hmm. Like certainly some are more active than others.
It's like life. It's a normal distribution. You've got some over on this side which are, real top-notch clubs. You have some here who are struggling, and you have a lot in the middle are doing a really good job. Yeah.
So I would say Southampton's probably on the one end of the spectrum where you guys are pretty active. It seems like
we're towards the right.
Yeah, for sure. So part of your new role is going to be taking those clubs that are struggling a little bit, and are maybe in a little bit of transition, and trying to get them to kind of ramp things up.
Well, that's one part of the role too. It's because it's very important to encourage them and assist them, and it depends where you live. We are fortunate. We live in a very vibrant community. It's very it's a growing community. Some communities on Ontario are not growing. In fact, they're very stagnant. So you have to look at the environment that those clubs are operating in too.
For sure.
So it's more Southampton and Port Elgin and Kincardine, for example, are very fortunate because they're in very upbeat areas. Whereas some clubs, if you're in sort of some of the middle parts of Ontario, are not in that state, or if they're in Northern Ontario, would not be at all.
Yeah, for sure. So if I'm like, okay, I love what Rotary is doing, I want to be a part of what you guys are doing. What's like, so from a commitment level point of view, generally speaking, you should be a good person. Mm-hmm. Like you should care, right? You should care about the community, right? That would be helpful. And then like, so you guys have meetings how often?
Typically, clubs have either. We typically used to have weekly meetings. A lot of clubs now have gone to twice a month.
Okay.
And within that, there'll be committee meetings for people. If you've got an interest on community matters, you might be involved in a subcommittee that's working on a project, or like take the splash pad we had. We had a group of people who worked tirelessly fundraising for that outside the normal meeting environment.
Yeah, for sure.
And take our international group, and when we did a water project, there's a group of them working on, how do we write the grant applications? How do we liaise with our colleagues in the Cameroons? So that's outside of those, etc. So if you've got a passion, you can get involved in those different things. We do lots of literacy things, and we also sponsor students to go on leadership courses, for example. So and there's a Rotary leadership program where we send these students on, and typically each Rotary club will sponsor 1 or 2 each year of young, if you like, teenagers to go to one of these things to give them a leg up in life.
And then you guys are also, you're so active in the community. right? Like, just like from a presence point of view.
Oh yeah,
You know?
I mean, not all clubs do this, but we're into burger flips and fish fries and all sorts of
totally.
things. And,
I mean, like I say this like with all the love in the world because I think it's amazing. But you can't really go to like an event in Southampton without seeing somebody representing Rotary there, which I think is fantastic, right?
well, Rotary's got a rich history in Southampton. It's been there for over 80 years now. So, it is a Rotary town in inverted commas.
Yeah.
Some towns might be a Lions town, but we happen to be a Rotary town. So
yeah, I guess you're right because obviously we're talking a lot about Rotary because you are here to represent Rotary, but you're right. There are other service clubs in these towns.
Lots of great service
right,
opportunities around with many other organisations.
So speaking of kind of fun community stuff that you guys are doing, want to talk about the noses?
The noses? We never did the noses.
No, I know, but the idea of the noses.
Oh, the noses. Yeah. Well, we had an idea for the splash pad launch was to give every child in the school a blue nose.
Yeah. It turns out that sourcing these noses and trying is not an easy task. Yeah.
So we decided to go against that. But we have another one, by the way, another idea. You've seen these?
Oh, yeah.
You've got those?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we are running a...
No, I thought are we going to leave them?
We could leave them.
Well, just for a couple minutes.
Just a couple of minutes. Okay.
Yeah. It's very distracting.
It's very distracting. Because we've got the bright lights in here.
That's it. Yeah. It's real Hollywood stuff now.
As part of me being district governor, we have the privilege and honour to host a district conference, and we're doing that in Sorgin Shores at the Unifor Family Educational Centre next June. And we thought we'd have a fun competition to encourage people to come. And that was to take some action photographs of doing good work in the community. So Rotarians working in the community, doing a project, whatever it might be, taking an action shot of that. And the sunglasses here have to appear in the shot.
Okay.
Now, they don't have to wear them.
No, for sure.
They just have to appear in the shot. So they could be like that.
Yeah.
Or
we could
like
put them on.
this.
You could put them on your shirt. You could have them on your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're going to give. You told me I hadn't to clap my hands when I was doing this. So I've constantly told off. So what we have to do is we're going to give a prize to the most interesting photograph, and we've got a panel of judges who are going to determine what they are, and they're not Rotarians on the panel. And then we are going to give them a cash prize, and the cash prize will be used for a project, a community project or a service project of that Rotary Club's choice.
Oh, very cool.
That's right. So that's the idea.
Let's talk. Now that we've kind of segued into that, let's talk about the conference then.
Okay.
So 2020 is a big year for this district that you are now the governor of.
That's right.
And you guys are planning a pretty significant event. That's, I think, like important things to highlight for me are, okay, on one hand, it's kind of Rotary specific for sure, right? But you're going to have Rotary members coming from this entire district to Southampton, which inevitably is going to drive tourism, and they're going to spend money, and they're going to take advantage of all there is to do and see and eat and drink while they're here, right?
That's right.
So what does the actual event itself look like?
Well, at the moment, it's planned to start on Friday lunchtime, or just before lunchtime on Friday. And we have got the services of Diana Bishop, who is the granddaughter of Billy Bishop, and she runs a consultancy company in storytelling, and she's also a former broadcaster. So she's going to help us through the Friday, and we're going to use the theme for the Friday really as the power of telling the story. And we all want, like I'm talking to you today about Rotary and myself, we want to find good ways and better ways to get the story of Rotary out into the community, not just locally but also internationally. So that's the first day. Then the second day we have two great speakers. The first one is Chris Cummings, and he's a 6 times TEDx speaker. He's a philanthropist and also a motivation and leadership guru. And then on Saturday afternoon we have Jim Moss, and he uses or harnesses the smile to improve business performance. And he's got a very interesting story to tell because he had a debilitating illness in his past, and he finished up having to stop doing. He was a lacrosse player, famous lacrosse player, and he had to give up his career. And he finished up doing a PhD, and he used this psychology thing on the smile. And now he runs a consultancy company, and he's coming to talk to us. And really, it's how we are going to use these things to help Rotarians improve how they operate within their own clubs.
Okay, now let's talk about Tony.
Okay.
Tony, what are you into? What makes you tick? What makes you tick outside of Rotary? Because like you're obviously you're very active in the community and very active in Rotary. You and your lovely wife actually are both well-known people, I think, for all the right reasons. Because you're actively trying to help out. But outside of Rotary, what's what you got a hobby or something that people they don't know you have?
I guess my hobby is Rotary, I guess, to some degree.
You're not, okay, listen, you're not allowed to answer these questions with Rotary.
I tried to golf.
Yeah. But that's all you can do with golf, as you know. I feel the same way. People say, oh, are you a golfer? I'm like, well, I go golfing.
I know.
I don't know if I'd say I'm a golfer.
And because I'm being the district governor this coming year, I've actually parked my membership for a year, suspended my membership for a year of Sorting Golf Club. Okay. But I did go and was a pay member yesterday because it was a nice day. But I just don't have the time, unfortunately, to do it because I've got a lot of travelling to do in the coming year. The other thing I enjoy is Formula One motor racing. Okay. That's right. So a lot of people may not know that. So that's something I am particularly interested in.
So when you say you enjoy it, do you enjoy it to the point where you're not going to miss it?
I get up early in the morning to watch it, or if it's in Japan, for example, and it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll tape it.
That's awesome.
But I did once, it's a while ago now, but it was for my 50th birthday. Sylvia bought me a present to go to Mosport to race in open-seater, well, not race, but to learn to drive an open-seater.
You got to drive it?
Yeah. But these were small Formula Ford things with crash gearboxes and you had to double the clutch type thing. So they were pretty, I think, but they were open wheels and you were in this cockpit and you were in this fireproof suit and with this sort of gear stick on this side here. And I remember going around the Mosport circuit, several times. And first of all, they take you around in a convoy. So it's like the mother duck goes in first and you all follow. And then they tell you, with putting cones out on the side, where to brake. Because it's
because you're going so fast,
going in the corners.
I just also wanted to call attention to that. You said that the shifter was here with your right hand. Yeah. That's where they always are. But you're from England,
yes.
So that's not weird at all, Tony. That's completely normal.
Yeah, but it's weird the fact it's at the side of the cockpit, and if you're not careful, your knuckles graze against the actual.
Oh, like it's because it's so tight in there.
So tight.
Yeah, right.
That's right. But the modern Formula One cars, it's all on the steering wheel and it's
the paddles, right? Yeah, right.
And buttons. And if you've seen how they can operate all those buttons and watch all those things on and drive around at the speed they do, I have no clue. I
think I prefer the F1 to the NASCAR. I don't like the oval track, like just around and around and around stuff for sure. I would like to take those cars for a rip. I used to really, really like go-karting, just because it's just as close as you can get to like kind of racing without it being like extremely dangerous.
Well, all Formula One racing drivers were former go-kart.
Oh, really?
Always, yes. If you could do that you can possibly drive a Formula One car.
Well, there you go. I mean, I'm okay at it. I don't think I'm a pro level good. You know what I mean? So you being from England, I got to ask this hot topic, hot button question: coffee or tea?
Oh, tea. Until I came to North America, and I found we originally lived in the States, and I found you couldn't get a good cup of tea anywhere. Yeah, because they typically don't boil the water well. Yeah, or it comes out with coffee urn, which is not boiling water. Yeah, so that was a big problem. So I've learned to like coffee. Okay, I even now go to Tim Hortons and things like that, and get my Tim Hortons.
So let me ask you this thing: so you go to Tim Hortons, you get a cup of coffee. What's in it?
Oh, I'm very simple. I now understand the lingo enough to just get a coffee with a single milk. Took me a long time to work out because I only like a splash of milk.
Yeah,
in fact, like khaki coloured.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult with these in terms of double and cream and all these things that go on. I could never get to terms of, and I then went to understand what it was like. I'll tell you a funny story about Tim Hortons. I went as part of Rotary again, but we were volunteering in the community and we were helping out on
You're going to segue. You're going to segue it back to Rotary.
Kids Day. Kids Day. This is
no matter how many times I try to do it.
That's exactly right. What a wonderful organisation it is. Now, Tim, so you go in there and they give you a training and you wear your hair. Now, even though I've got a lot of hair.
On Camp Day.
Camp Day, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't this year, it was last year. And we have to operate the coffee urns and fill orders. And you've got a minder next to you who knows how this is supposed to operate. Yeah. But I can tell you, I was absolutely worn out and sweating because those coffee urns are so apart, they're so hot. And you've got to, and the one in Southampton is so busy, the drive-through going and people coming to and froing.
Yeah.
And, people come with you get these guys from the construction site come with a shipping order. Of
yeah.
And it's great if they all want black coffee because that's the easiest thing.
For sure. That's what I drink, by the way, is black coffee.
Well, if I was serving, you'd be one of my favourites because you've got to do all these things. Yeah. And so it was just, fascinating to me how he did it. And I have to say, on occasions, we would forget to put the coffee in, and then all would come through the thing was just warm, hot water, if you like. Because you're trying to do all these different things.
Oh, for sure. It's chaos, man.
It is. And so I have the utmost admiration for all these young people who work in this, and some of the older people now who work in Tim Hortons, because it's much more difficult to keep all those balls in the air than you might think.
Oh, I totally agree. I actually think, like, in general, like, people who work in the service industry are, like, they must have the most amount of patience and I think unbelievable memory.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it could be anything. It could be a server at a restaurant or, like you said, at Tim Hortons. If you're in the drive-thru, I guess what our point is be patient.
Yes.
Go easy on these people, man. Right. This is a tough gig.
Well, we found it was.
Yeah, you don't want to be there. You don't want to be there doing it, trying to act like it's easy. It's not easy. There's a lot of stuff on it.
And I'm a witness that if the coffee's longer than 20 minutes, it's thrown out.
Yeah. Which is, it can't happen often in that place, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it must just be a revolt.
But even though it doesn't happen often, you have to get your wax crayon out and write on the part.
Yeah, every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
I had all these rules. So I was drilled into us, and we only had a short bit of training, and it showed. I tell you that.
Everybody got just okay coffee that day.
Yes.
But it was for a good cause, so that's all right.
They got a good smile, though. They got a good smile from us.
I think you got the progression right, because I think, like, we're such a double culture that I think people go, like, they start with the double, and then maybe you get down to a regular, and then you're just cream, and then you're just milk, and that's how it was for me. And then, so now I just drink black coffee.
Yeah, I can occasionally drink black.
Yeah.
So I'm getting weaned off it, too. Sylvia's always been a black drinker.
So you are retired.
Yes.
Are you a morning person?
I'm more of a morning person than Sylvia.
Okay. She's not here, so we can say whatever.
Exactly,
it's all good.
Right, yeah. That's right.
I tend to lean more in Sylvia's world. I'm not a morning person.
All right.
So, like, when you had to get up for work every day, were you chipper when you got up, or were you?
Yes. I'm always supposed.
I hate that, Tony.
There you go.
I hate that.
I'm a glass half full person all the time.
Yeah.
And if I'm not, there's something
you
wrong.
You do
with
have
me.
a sunny disposition.
I
right.
do. Yeah, that's right. So I'm invariably like that. So I'm always enthusiastic about things, and I'm always having bright ideas. And people worry about the ideas I have from time to time.
Bright ideas are great, but not too early. I don't want to hear your bright ideas before 9 a.m. kind of thing.
That's right.
So you're a morning person. You're dabbling a little bit with the coffee over the tea now. Are you a sweets or a savory person?
I was born in Yorkshire, and we used to have a roast beef dinner with Yorkshire pudding. And the other thing
was this an every Sunday thing?
Invariably,
yeah.
And we used to have on the Yorkshire pudding, which is a bit of a strange thing, because we would have it as a starter.
Okay.
And the idea behind that was that it would fill you up.
Yeah.
So you didn't eat as much roast beef.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But we used to have it with cucumber
Okay.
and Ronian mixed in malt vinegar. So it was like a little dressing. And then you poured just little segments of cucumber and Ronian with the vinegar on top with some gravy. And
Really?
It's magic.
You know,
It's
I would try that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll get the recipe.
Expression
Yeah.
in Yorkshire. It's a bit like rhubarb. If rhubarb's a bit of a thing, it makes your ears laugh. If you can describe that thing, it's a childhood expression that came to me, and it's lived with me all my life.
That's amazing. I love it.
That's right.
So you're going savory then.
Yes.
Final answer.
Yes.
Me and you are on the same page. I would do the same.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I thought you were going to give me a choice to change that when you say final answer.
No.
Final answer.
There's no choices here. That show got cancelled.
This is more for Rotarians rather than actually anybody else. But
listen, if you're not a Rotarian, then maybe you could be or you should be. Right?
Absolutely right. Yeah. And our theme for next year is Rotary Connects the World. And we are very excited to be starting off a new Rotary year with that theme because, as I said to you earlier, everything we do, we're connected, whether it's our projects we do, whether it's meeting people, whether it's us communicating. We're our fellowships. For example, I went to Croatia as part of a Rotary Fellowship Exchange, and we lived in Rotarians' houses there, and then they came back here. And you see a country through the people's eyes of the country. You don't see it through as a tourist.
Yeah.
And we did the same for them when they came here. And we've got another exchange. We went to Colombia recently, and then we got one going to South Africa later this year. So we do a number of other things that you might not think we do.
Yeah.
And, we run the largest youth exchange program in the world too. So we do lots of exchanges and cultural exchanges. So it allows people to get a better understanding of what's going on around the world.
So local people, let's talk Southampton for a sec. If they want, how can they track down specifically you guys and what you guys are doing in Southampton?
Well, if two ways. Simply, a lot of people know me, so they could just ask me.
Yeah.
But we have a website, southamptonrotary.com. We have a fairly vibrant social media account in Facebook, so that's Southampton Rotary too. And we also have a Twitter one, which is Southampton R, which people can find us on and look for.
Very cool.
We haven't got as far as being as advancing as Instagram and people like that, but perhaps we should.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You guys are going to get there for sure.
I know.
Tony, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This was lovely. Always a pleasure.
Welcome.
Gang, thank you so much for tuning in Your Business in this special nonprofit edition. We'll leave you with this. Get out there, whatever you support, get active in the community, and try, please, to just help somebody today.
And make your community a better place.
There you go. Thank you so much.